You know that feeling, right? You're just scrolling through your phone or maybe chatting with friends, and all of a sudden you get this little pang, this feeling that your own relationship just isn't quite measuring up. It's so sneaky, but man, is it powerful. So today, we're going to talk about the comparison game, this quiet little habit that can actually create some serious distance between you and your partner. We're going to get into why it happens and, way more importantly, what we can do about it. And this, right here, is the absolute truth. I mean, this quote just nails it. The second we start comparing, we're stepping into a game that's literally impossible to win. It's designed to make you feel like you're behind, and it just kicks off this whole cycle of discontent that steals the joy right out of your own unique story. So let's start by looking at where this game even gets played. And you'll see it shows up in the most normal, everyday situations, kind of sneaking into our thoughts when we're not even ready for it. Oh man, this one is a classic, isn't it? You're scrolling your feed and bam, there it is. The perfect couple, the perfect sunset in Tuscany. And in that 1 second, the simple, perfectly good reality of your own life, sharing leftovers at home, can suddenly feel, well, kind of lame. It's such a small thing, but it's an instant shift in how you feel. And it's not just about flashy vacations or fancy dinners either. It can be about anything. Parenting styles, a job promotion, even just how cuddly another couple seems in public. You hear a friend just raving about their partner, and that little seed of comparison gets planted. And it just creates this internal frustration where you're measuring your spouse against a yardstick they didn't even know existed. Okay, so why? Why do we even fall into this trap? Well, it almost always comes from a much deeper place. Deep down, comparison is usually tied to our own insecurities, you know? It's connected to that quiet little question we all ask ourselves. Am I enough? Or maybe even, are we enough? And this shows the biggest flaw in the whole game. What we're doing is we're comparing our full, messy, unedited reality, the behind-the-scenes footage, to somebody else's perfectly polished highlight reel. It is never a fair fight. You're seeing their greatest hits, not the daily grind it took to get there. And this is the part you really need to hear. Your relationship is 100% unique. It has its own rhythm, its own seasons of struggle and seasons of growth, and its own lessons that are just for you. It was never, ever meant to be graded against someone else's story. Now let's talk about the damage, because when this habit of comparison really takes hold, it starts to wear away at the very foundation of your partnership. You go from being on the same team to keeping score against each other. And you can see how this happens, right? It's like a domino effect. It starts with just one little comparison, but that thought starts to chip away at your feeling of unity. Pretty soon, you're not cheering your partner on anymore, you're just measuring them. And that measurement, that builds resentment. And over time, that resentment carves out a huge gap where your connection used to be. This is it. This is the big question, isn't it? Because seeing the problem is one thing, but actually breaking the cycle, that's where the real change happens. And the good news is, you absolutely can. And here's how we do it. We can actually learn to transform that impulse to compare. So instead of using comparison as a stick to beat yourself or your partner up with, you can start using it as a mirror for real insight and, believe it or not, connection. Okay, this idea is a total game changer. Redeeming comparison means you stop obsessing over what you don't have and start looking for the lesson in the feeling. That little pang of envy, it isn't just a negative emotion. Think of it more like a signpost, pointing you towards something you deeply value or want in your own life. So the very next time you feel that little twinge of comparison, just pause. Ask yourself this exact question. Maybe seeing that other couple being super close just reminds you that, hey, you're craving a little more connection. See, that's not a critique of your relationship. It's a beautiful invitation to go invest in it. It literally turns misery into motivation. And if you want the single most powerful antidote to comparison, it's gratitude. It is practically impossible to feel jealous and grateful in the exact same moment. Gratitude just pulls you right back to center, shifting your focus away from what you think is missing and putting it right back on all the good stuff that's already in your life. All right, let's pull all this together into some really practical, actionable tools you can start using, like today, to build up that contentment and finally break free from the comparison game. Okay, this is your go-to toolkit. First, limit the scroll. If social media is a trigger for you, put some boundaries on it. Next, practice gratitude. I mean it, make it a daily habit. It literally rewires your brain. Then, when you feel that jealousy pop up, do a quick perspective check-in with yourself. Ask, what's this really about? Also, make a point to celebrate other people. Their success doesn't take anything away from you. And finally, always remember, you and your partner are on the same team. So I want to leave you with this final thought. That whisper of comparison, it can be so convincing, can it? Telling you you're not enough, that you're falling behind. But your journey isn't a race. It's this unique path of becoming. Together. What do you think would change if you decided to listen to grace instead?